wrong for making a joke about my brother's affair at his wedding? When I was in elementary school, I was the type of kid who got disrupted class often on the report card, so I never focused much on school. My district had this system where they would pair high school students with younger kids to help them with their school, etc. And my mom made me do that after I kept getting in trouble. So my tutor was a freshman, Abby, so she would come to our house after school to help me with my homework or something. My brother John was the same age as Abby, so they would talk to each other and ended up dating. She stopped tutoring me officially after like a month, but since she was at our house a lot, I also talked to Abby a lot and we were close. Fast forward 10 years. Abby and John got married and had a kid together. 5 years later, John tells me that he's getting a divorce because he's met someone new. It sucked because I like John and Abby together a lot, but whatever. Then he tells me he had an affair with his new girlfriend. Also sucks, but I told him he shouldn't have hurt Abby like that, but whatever. I also asked Abby how she was doing, and she wasn't doing well, but she told me she didn't want her to be the reason I have a bad relationship with my brother. However, 2 months before my wedding, Abby calls me and tells me that my brother's girlfriend has been harassing her nonstop. She showed me the text, and his girlfriend has been saying some pretty disturbing things about how she's so much better than Abby, taunting Abby for having to share custody of her kid now, just making fun of her and bullying her. I told my brother about this, and he said he would ask his girlfriend about it. A month later, I asked him if he ever brought it up, and he said he did but saw nothing wrong with the text, which pissed me off. I later confirmed that he saw the same text I saw. Abby apologized for involving me in the whole thing in the first place and encouraged me to still go to the wedding, where my brother asked me to make a speech. The speech went well until I made a joke. The gist of the joke was me turning to his new wife and telling her that if she's learned anything from this, she should know that my brother will never let his wife stop him from finding the love of his life. I like that. That's a really good joke. Yo, high five. I love it. This got my brother and his wife really mad, and they kicked me out shortly after. And my brother has been calling and texting me nonstop, yelling at me. So, am I the asshole here? I think, honestly, this is like one of the only acceptable asshole posts I've ever read. Like, asshole. Like, this is the only time it's okay to be an asshole. Am I the asshole for not inviting my daughter to my wedding? I, 46-year-old male, and getting married to my fiance, 39-year-old female. We have been together for 3 years. I have 2 daughters, 18 and 19, from previous relationships. My fiance is a very sophisticated person and has very exquisite tastes. She also doesn't really care for young children, and this has created tension between her and my youngest daughter. While our plans have been delayed due to global circumstances, our plans to get married are finally going ahead. It's going to be a very lavish and expensive wedding. Due to the nature of the wedding and my fiance's preference, our wedding is also going to be child-free. We will, however, be inviting my oldest as she is no longer a child and because, unlike my youngest, her and my fiance get along well. However, I didn't realize that my youngest expected to come to the wedding. She tried to tag along with my fiance and oldest when they were going dress shopping because she thought she was going to need a dress too. I explained to her that the wedding was going to be for adults only and that she wouldn't be attending. She started crying and getting mad, which stressed out my fiance. She has been distraught about this for days and hasn't let it go. My parents came by to visit one day and my youngest told them what happened. When they asked for clarification on the situation, I explained to them that my daughter wouldn't be attending the wedding because the child-free rule applied to her as well. Besides, this wedding would not be suitable for a child and I don't want my fiance to have to deal with my daughter on the most important day of her life. Oh my gosh! I had to reread that shit. My parents told me I was being a terrible father by prioritizing my fiance over my daughter and that on the day of the wedding they would take my daughter out for a special day, which means they wouldn't be in the wedding. I told them that they couldn't do that. Even if they didn't attend the wedding, I wouldn't let them take my daughter. This has become a bigger conflict than I intended. Can I roll my eyes farther back? My fiance and I both think we're in the right for wanting a child-free wedding, but it appears I may lose my parents from the wedding over this, and I want to know if I am the right or not. So, am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. You're the dumbass. You're just a complete dumbass. Like, man. What? You stupid piece of shit. Am I wrong for telling my husband to stop disrespecting our surrogate? I, 34 female, and my husband, 37 male, Hunter, suffer from fertility problems. We recently decided to get a surrogate who is a friend of a friend. We were busy getting everything done legally, and we already had a contract in place. My egg was used, so no worries in this regard, plus our surrogate is a respectful, kind woman who's been keeping her part of the contract intact. But it's my husband Hunter who's been starting to act strange. I've noticed that he's been focusing all of his attention on our surrogate, like skipping work to visit her or get her things that she didn't ask for, chat with her all the time on social media, and also constantly offering to do things for her, like drive her places and sometimes even invite her out or offer to repair her stuff for her. She complained to me about this and even told me about things he's been doing that I didn't even know about, like bringing her gifts. I tried speaking to him about what this looks like, but he said he's doing what he's doing for his son and not for her. Still, I asked that he tone it down and respect the woman's space. He got mad at me and accused me of being jealous of the woman Whoa, I knew it was going this way. He got mad at me and accused me of being jealous of the woman who's carrying my own child and said that this makes me look bad. He has a crush on her. I feel like guys have this weird thing, like he's infatuated that he got another woman pregnant that's not his wife. You know, like that kind of weird shit. I said our surrogate was the one who complained about his behavior, and he said this wasn't true. Apparently this made him somewhat angry, so I gave him time to cool down a bit. Yesterday our surrogate called me saying that Hunter came over and told her guests to leave. I asked why, and she said that he wanted to show her the $9,000 car he bought for her. I was shocked. She said that she declined the card and asked him to leave, but he started arguing with her about using public transportation and risking our baby's well-being. I was fuming. I called him demanding him to get home, and he eventually did. Once he got back, we started fighting, and I yelled at him saying that he's been nothing but disrespectful and overstepping and inappropriate towards our surrogate. Again, he explained that the car wasn't for her, but to ensure that the baby is safe. I told him to stop disrespecting the woman and stop using the baby as an excuse to stomp all over her boundaries. He ranted about how he was just trying to make this work and that I should do the same, if not more. He accused me of not loving our son as much as he does, but this isn't the way, and putting $9,000 for a car without telling me. He left the house for a while, then came back and refused to speak to me. I might have been hard on him. He might have just been oblivious, so I'm less sure seeing his reaction now. Am I the asshole for insulting my boyfriend's weight in front of his friends? Relevant to the story, my boyfriend is 6 feet tall and about 229 pounds. I am 5'6" and about 120 pounds. From a medical standpoint, my boyfriend is obese and I am fairly normal weight. I really don't mind his weight. He was obese when I met him and that wasn't a problem for me. He has struggled with his weight for many years and constantly talks about wanting to lose weight but never actually diets or exercises. Again, not a huge deal for me, but I try to be supportive and offer him advice or general encouragement whenever he discusses his desire to lose weight. An occasional point of contention between us is that he has a tendency to offer me diet advice. For example, whenever I make a smoothie, he says, "You shouldn't drink those things, they're full of hidden calories." Or when I do strength training, he says, "You'll just gain weight because you'll put on too much muscle." It's annoying because nutrition and fitness are actually big passions of mine. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've done several courses and I feel I know more than the average person. Plus, I feel that I can demonstrably show that I can manage my own weight. So I don't like that he constantly feels the need to give me advice. This past weekend, he and I met up with a few of his friends at a beer garden. At some point, the guys were talking about their experiences with online dating. My boyfriend said that he'd used Tinder prior to meeting me, but then he deleted it because there were too many desperate fat chicks. He said this in such a disgusted, dismissive way that I genuinely saw red for a second and just blurted out, "Seriously, you're going to criticize fat chicks?" There was a really long, awkward pause, and then one of his friends made a joke and the conversation sort of moved on. But my boyfriend didn't speak to me for the rest of the evening. He texted me the next day and to say that it was incredibly rude and disrespectful to comment on his weight, especially in front of his friends. He says he thinks he wants a few days away from me to decide whether or not he can forgive me. I agree it was rude of me to call him out in front of his friends, but I also think what he said was obnoxious and borderline sexist. I've apologized to him, but I'm not sure if I'm genuinely the asshole here. So, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for telling my niece the family secret? I, 35 female, had two older sisters growing up, Jane and Kim. Kim got sick and died, but not before giving birth to my niece, Laura, 18 female. It had been a year after Kim's passing when Jane and Laura's dad, Tom, 42 male, confessed to dating and were now engaged. Bro, I don't understand. I never understand sisters going after the same guy. Especially after they have a baby together. That's so weird. That's so nasty. I accused them of cheating. Jane and Tom explained that this wasn't something they had planned, but there was no cheating and knew that Kim would want them to be happy. Yeah, but not with each other. You can be happy with someone else. Convenient since she's, dead. I did not attend the wedding and was super upset at how everyone else was so accepting of the relationship. But the thing that hurt me the most was how Jane and Tom intended to completely erase Kim and Laura's life. She was barely 2 when Kim died, and they decided it would be better if Laura thought Jane was her mother in every sense of the word after the adoption was finalized. Tom got rid of any items that would suggest he and Kim were ever in a relationship, and made his family swear to never tell Laura the truth. Jane expected everyone on our side of the family to do the same, but I refused, and as such, I was denied access to Laura. It hurt, but when I thought about all those times Kim cried, knowing that she wouldn't live long enough to see Laura grow up, there was just no way I could honor the lie. They even had Laura's name illegally changed to something that Jane liked, as Kim picked out Laura's first name. I distanced myself from my family over time over this, but my parents always tried to get us to reconcile, citing that they didn't like this arrangement either, but accepting it was better than not being a part of Laura's life at all. I just couldn't do it. Growing up, Laura had known of me, but we never really interacted. Apparently, she's interested in studying a field that I work in and reached out to me through social media. The last time I saw her, she was 7, and I started to tear up about how much she looked like him. We would talk from time to time, and eventually Laura asked why I wasn't around. I tried to keep it vague, but Laura knew that there was more to the story, as I didn't seem like the person I was described to be. If we had been talking through DMs like before, I probably wouldn't have done it, but we were video chatting, and something about looking directly into her eyes broke me, and I confessed to everything. Before Kim died, she and I made a series of videos for Laura to watch at her big moments, and I told her that if she ever wanted to watch any of them, I'd send them. Laura asked me to send some, and then I heard nothing from her for days. Recently, I got a call from an enraged Jane and Tom berating me for ruining their family. After Laura watched some of the videos, she confronted my parents, who confirmed everything. Laura has moved out and currently not speaking to anyone, and no one knows where she is right now. Everyone is angry at me. So, am I the asshole?